What's up YouTube? This is Caleb, also known as Fanatic, and today I'm going to be showing you how I approach and paint my Finnish winter-themed infantry. So here I have a beautiful model from Kaushineko Miniatures. I'll definitely put a link down in the description if you want to check out their stuff. It's awesome. It's my favorite stuff for Finns right now. And this happens to be a model of the famous White Death. I'm going to butcher this, but his name is, or was, Simo Haoha. And yeah, he became famous for being the most, I guess, the sniper with the most recorded kills of any sniper in history. So also definitely look him up if you haven't. But yeah, so I'm basically, I've got quite a few models here I'm going to be painting. And so as I get to different pieces of gear or, different colors, I'll definitely switch over to those models and just show you what I'm doing for those colors. Hopefully you'll find this useful. So a lot of times when you see people do winter infantry or anything with white, they'll use kind of a grayer wash or maybe even like a Nuln Oil type consistency or dark tone or something. And I knew that when I did mine, I definitely wanted to do something a little warmer and maybe to convey a little bit that these guys have also been rolling around, in the mud or in kind of like the spring melted slush. So I definitely went with a warmer wash, and I'll explain that and you'll see all that come out. And so I think that kind of sets my guys apart maybe a little bit from other winter schemes, but other than that, most of the things you'll see are pretty similar to probably other winter schemes that you've seen before. But anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna get going on this guy. So for those of you who are following at home, our first color or base coat for the uniform is going to be this Spaceship exterior. It's a very, very light gray. I'd say it even goes on lighter than it appears in the bottle. And I'm going to be applying that with an airbrush. So here we go. So it's kind of hard to tell, but you can see on the left here, this guy holding this mortar round, he has just been primed white. And then the White Death, our friend Simo over here, he has just a couple layers of the Spaceship exterior by Army Painter on him. So not a huge difference, but like I said, I kind of like the tone of this. If you've ever painted white before, one of the adages is always don't actually paint white. So I try to follow that. But yeah, you can kind of see the comparison between a pure white and that Spaceship exterior light gray. Moving right along, we're going to be using Vallejo flat brown for any of our leather areas. In this case, I'm just going to be using it for his belt. Now that his belt is all finished up, moving on to his darkest skin tone, which in this case is going to be tan flesh, but you can use really any darker skin tone for this. Next, I'm going to use Vallejo's Flat Earth on his traditional Finnish boots with the curved toes. I also like to use this color on mittens and gloves, just something a little different, give a little color variation to any leather bits that aren't his belt, or if there's a strap of some sort on the rifle. So the next color I used is German gray, and I went ahead and just blocked in his entire rifle. All the metallic bits or metal parts are going to remain that German gray, and I'm actually going to be switching over to, see if I can find it here. Here it is. This Vallejo game color Scrofulous brown. It's kind of a bright, I guess, very orangish, brownish color, but I think it looks pretty good, especially after I apply the wash and get the highlights in and then do the wood grain. So I wanted to show you what that Scrofulous brown looks like once I have, or once you have, 2 coats on there. So you can see it's just a real nice, bright orange brown. And it's going to look a little different once we get the wash and the highlighting and stuff done on him. But if you were wanting to use this as a base color, if you don't do any highlighting or anything, yeah, just like this color, especially with the lighter colored uniforms. So lastly, for base colors, I'm just going to go ahead and use a little of this gunmetal. You can probably get away with just about any silvery metallic. And I'm going to use that on his belt buckle and just his buttons on his jacket. He is ready for his wash. So I'm terrible at being consistent about my washes. I usually just mix a bunch up and just hope for the best. But I believe this is some variation of marine juice, if you ever heard of that. But in this case, it is 30%, let's see, Reikland Fleshshade, 30% Nuln Oil, and 30%, I can't math, 40% Lahmian Medium. And so I'm going to go ahead and apply this all over the model. After the wash has plenty of time to dry, usually about 30 minutes, we're all ready to start reapplying our base coats. So I'm only going to be introducing a couple new colors here, but basically I'll just go over those in kind of rapid succession. So you kind of follow the same order that you did before. You know, you do your uniform, you'll end up doing, kind of working from the inside out. But I'll just go over all those colors. I'm going to be doing the first stage, or just, I would call it like a first stage highlight, I suppose, but it's really just the base colors reapplied. So first we're going to be reapplying the Spaceship exterior over his uniform. A couple of notes actually for all of the base colors that we are reapplying right now. Make sure it's a little thinner consistency, so be mixing it with water, because you definitely want to get some tonal variation, or keep some of the variation that you have from the wash. And the thinner that you have the paint as you apply it, I mean, you don't want it watery, but you want to be thin, just so you can build the layers up and keep some of that variation that the wash gave you. So obviously in the recesses and the deeper parts, you want to make sure that the wash stays pretty intact. Then we are going to reapply the tan flesh over his skin. We are going to introduce a new color. It's this red leather. And so instead of going back over it with the whatever the flat brown that we used, we're going to use this red leather, and you'll find that yeah, it just has a really cool effect and looks really nice. We're going to go back over his boots with the flat earth, his rifle with the Scrofulous brown, introducing another new color, this dark sea green. Really, it's just kind of what I have available. You could probably use any kind of bluish gray color, but this is going to go over the metal bits that were painted in that German gray. I think it's worth noting that you could definitely stop, right after just applying the wash. This would be a perfectly acceptable tabletop standard miniature, but of course we're not going to do that. So on to, reapplying the base coats and first stage highlights. Here he is with all of those base colors reapplied. You can see there's already quite a bit more depth. He's just a lot more interesting to look at. It's kind of hard to see that reddish brown on the belt, but I really like that kind of look for the leather bits especially. And so now we are going to move on to just second stage highlights. So we're going to be highlighting his uniform and his rifle, especially the stock. Going to be making sure we get some good highlights on his boots. And then I am going to save his skin for very last. Just wanted to quickly go over the second stage highlight colors. So for his uniform, we're going to be using Vallejo's Ivory. We're going to be using a 50-50 mix of Vallejo. This is Pale Sand, and our original base color, which is Scrofulous Brown. For his boots, we're going to use a 50-50 mix of Pale Sand and Flat Earth. For the wood grain on the stock, I'm going to go with Beige Brown. Just kind of paint little wood grain lines in there. he's definitely coming along. We got his uniform pretty much finished. We've got his rifle finished. Got his boots done. His belt's done. So now we just need to finish up those skin tones. So wrapping things up, we're going to do his skin. So we've already done the tan flesh, or gone back over the base coat with the tan flesh. So the next color I apply is beige red. And then I do a 50-50 mix of Vallejo Beige Red and AK light flesh. And then the final highlight is just an AK flesh. Obviously, each time we're kind of making sure the coats are thin. We're layering them up. And then I kind of been playing around with using, at the very end of everything, kind of tie all the skin color or flesh color together. Been using 50-50 reddish flesh with dark flesh. And then I've been doing a like 10-to-1 ratio of that combination to some sort of Xpress Medium. So this is Vallejo's. You could probably use, I don't know, I feel like Citadel has a version of this somewhere, which I'm having trouble finding, but you could use, like Army Painter has a quick shade wash mixing medium. I feel like even Lahmian Medium, I mean, that's more of like pigmentless paint. But anything just to thin the wash down to make it less dramatic will probably work fine. Now that he's all done, the last step is to apply some sort of varnish. In this case, I'm using AK Ultra Matte Varnish. Love this stuff. Usually use it through an airbrush, and I mix it 1 part of the varnish and just 1 part of airbrush thinner. And just like that, our friend Simo is all done. Look how happy he is. I can't imagine smiling or posing for a photo. You know, after coming back from hunting Soviets, but just kind of guy he was, I guess. So hopefully this gives you some good insights, maybe some inspiration for how to do your own Finnish winter infantry. This would also work, obviously, for any winter uniform. I am going to do another video going a little more in depth onto just different colors for gear, specifically for the Finns. So we'll get into bread bags, and we'll get into canteens and colors for just caps and anything else you might see on Finnish infantry especially. And I am also going to do a separate video just covering how I do his woodland kind of wintry base. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you learned something, or if, I don't know, you appreciated this content, go ahead and give it a like. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you for the next tutorial. As always, thanks so much, and have a very blessed day.